So we're gonna start off with something that we did on the very first episode of Neck and Shoulder Health 8 weeks ago. 2 months ago we've been doing this for 2 months. It's kind of crazy. We are gonna do two things that fall into the category of SNAGs, and that stands for Sustained Natural Apophyseal Glides. Basically, they're neck mobilizations. There's ways to get the vertebrae and joints in our neck to move within their natural limitations and abilities. This is something that you might want to try. You wake up with that really stiff neck, you got that biting pain right on the side of your neck, right at the base of your skull. These two things are awesome at helping relieve that pain. Then we follow it up with the third thing, which is exercises or strengthening exercises for our neck, and we can feel even better. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna grab your towel. All right, what do we got? Gonna replay tonight. Okay, yes, number one. Well, we're gonna go over that stuff from week one right now. So the first one that we did was a snag technique in which we did a posterior to anterior pull, okay? And all that means is I'm pulling this towel forward. So from the side, I'm sneaking the towel up to the base of my skull and I'm gonna pull forward. I'm gonna pull and I'm gonna extend my head back. Now I'm gonna do 5 of these, and as I go, I'm gonna slowly move the towel down. I'm only doing 5 reps total, and then we're gonna move on to the next technique, but you can spend a little bit more time if one area feels better. So I've got the towel all rolled up, and I'm gonna pull forward and extend. Now I move it down a little bit, pull forward, and extend. Down a little bit more, and I got 2 more to go. Last one. Okay, those felt pretty good. My neck is feeling pretty good lately. I've been having some neck pain and some numbness and tingling in my right hand, but it's been feeling great lately. These feel really good. And now we're gonna move on to the next technique. It's still gonna use the towel. We're gonna be using this for 3 things today, so we've already knocked one of them out. We're gonna have our towel around the back of our neck, just like this. You're gonna take one hand and grab the opposite side, and then the opposite side. So you have your arms crossed right now. And with one side, you're gonna pull it down and anchor it to your body. So I'm pulling with my right hand on the left side of my body, and then with my left hand, I'm gonna pull the towel up, crushing my face here, on the outside of my head. From here, I'm gonna make sure I still have that anchor, and I'm gonna pull. And that's it. We're gonna do 5 of these. And so we're gliding and sliding the joints in our neck while doing some rotation, where before we were doing extension. If anybody's joining right now, they're probably like, what the heck? But we've got our towel, we've got our arms crossed, we anchor, we pull up and across our head and rotate. And we're doing some snags, sustained natural apophyseal glides. Basically, mobilization techniques for your neck. And we got 2 more to go. Who's waving at me? Rebecca, hello. We got 1 more. 5. Okay. And so you're gonna have to kind of switch your hands around. There we go. To anchor down. There we go. Anchor down on the side of your body. Pull up and across and rotate. You want to keep your eyes level. You don't want to be extending as you rotate. That might cause a little bit of discomfort. We're just rotating. You might get some cracks and pops, and those are free and they're fun and they feel good. They don't mean much, but take them if you get them. And you got 1 left, 1 last rotational snag. Cool. All right. So those were the 2 variations of snags. The first one where you pull forward and extend, and then the rotational ones. And those can feel great if you have that tense, tight neck. Maybe you slept weird. You know, they can help really loosen everything up in the neck. And now, we're gonna load up the neck with some 4-way, I call them 4-way necks, because we're gonna go flexion, extension, side bend, and side bend. We're gonna actually start to strengthen and tell the muscles of our neck, hey, you need to turn on right now, and you need to turn off. And these are great ways to break up our sitting throughout our day. I didn't include these in my little book, but they are great. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna put your hands right on your forehead. You're gonna sit really tall, okay? So you're not gonna do these in a slouch position. You're gonna sit really tall, and you're gonna push forward. And then you're gonna go all the way back. And then you're gonna keep pushing. I'm pushing my hands into my forehead and my forehead into my hands. We're doing 3 only in each direction, but I love when people do 5 to 15 in each direction throughout your day. Okay, and now you're gonna put your hands on the back of your head. We're gonna go backwards and then forwards. So you're going backwards into your hands, providing resistance. Then you're coming forwards, 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 forwards. There's 1, we're doing 2 more. With control, 2, and you push as hard as you want, just don't inflict pain on yourself. We're just trying to use those muscles, trying to activate the muscles all around our neck to help create stability. Because typically throughout our day, we're kind of just sitting with this forward head position. All the muscles are really relaxed. The muscles in the front of the neck are just kind of sitting there lengthening, not getting strong at all. The muscles in the back of our neck are just staying really short, not actively supporting us. And so here we are, we're feeding some input, some activation into those muscles. Now we're gonna go to the side, so I'm pushing to the right and all the way over to the other side. We're gonna make 3, so there's 1. Got a nice little crack there. And now over, 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 over. 2, once again, this is as hard as you want it to be. Start light, and we're just doing 3 in each direction. But like I said, anywhere between 5 and 15 of these can make a huge difference in the way your neck feels if you've been having some neck pain. You just go through your available range of motion. Everything that doesn't hurt is your available range of motion. See, I got my last one. And that feels really darn good. Okay, so I'm gonna scoot back so you guys can see a little bit more of my body. Actually, do I need to do that? No, let's see what happens. But we're gonna need our towel again, because we're gonna do something called a bully stretch, and it gets that name from bullies stealing your milk money in middle school and high school. That's right, we're going back to those years, all right? So what did they do? They would grab your arm, take it behind your back, say, give me your money. Never had that done to me, because I was always the biggest kid in the class. I was the biggest wuss in the class, but I was the biggest kid in the class. But you're gonna take this towel, you're gonna drape it over your shoulder. Whatever shoulder you threw it over, you're gonna hold with that hand, okay? So I have it over my left shoulder, so I'm holding on with my left hand. I'm gonna sneak my right hand behind my back, and I'm gonna grab that towel. And then, I'm gonna pull my shoulder open and back, okay? This is a crucial part of this stretch. If I just leave my shoulder forward here and go to pull up, I'm just gonna pull my shoulder more forward and more up, and I'm actually gonna tighten the things that we're trying to stretch. We're trying to stretch the side of our neck, the anterior portion of our shoulder, and our external rotators in our shoulder as well. So here I am, I'm grabbing, I'm opening my chest, setting my chest, and then I'm gonna pull up, and it looks like this from the back. And once you're here, you're just stuck. I'm gonna look, I can't see my watch, so I look at the clock. We're stuck here for a minute, we're just stretching, and if you feel like you're starting to loosen up, you can always pull a little more. Keep that shoulder blade back and down, and we're just stretching out, hanging out. You probably feel a big stretch in the front of your shoulder, the back of your shoulder, maybe even your neck. If you want to get a little bit more stretch, you can tilt your head away, that's okay. Just doing a bully stretch, trying to gain some mobility in our shoulder joint. Now we do a lot of shoulder internal rotation in our day when we're texting and typing and all that stuff, but a lot of times it's passive, we're not thinking about it. And so the capsule in our shoulder can get really tight. And so we're providing with a little bit of a stretch in the back of the shoulder and a little bit in the front. And once again, we're pulling our shoulder blade back. Okay, I'm gonna lay up here. Got over the top, same side grabs, behind your back with your opposite hand. Pull up, over and set it. Shoulder blade is down and back. I feel a little bit more stretch on this side. We're just here, stuck here for a minute, just breathing. Oh dang, what do we got? DMK 430, hope you're liking it. Oh, my mom just joined, hey mom. And we're just stretching out our shoulders. You wanna make sure once again that you're not dumping that shoulder up and forward. You wanna open up your chest, set that hand in place, and I have really good mobility and great range of motion and flexibility, so yours might not look like this. Yours might be down here, and you might be feeling a great stretch, and that's cool, because that's where you belong, But I'm trying to get a little bit of stretch out of this. I'm nice and tall through my chest. So I'm trying to get a little bit of stretch for myself, but like I said, yours might look a little bit different, and that's cool. Because with stretching, everything is where your sweet spot is. With mobility work, everything is where your sweet spot is. And with strengthening work, what can you do? I shouldn't try to force a square peg in a round hole. It's not going to go well. Leads to injury, discomfort, pain, that kind of stuff. And you're not going to want to do it again. The whole goal is to move more, and if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. So we just passed the 1 minute mark on that side, and I think we're done with the towel. And we're going to be heading down to the floor now, because we're going to use that range of motion that we just worked on. And now we're going to incorporate a little bit of that internal rotation, opening up the anterior portion of your shoulder, your pec, your deltoid, your bicep. And we're going to pair it with some thoracic mobility. Right side shoulder's been hurting. Oh, let's see if these guys can give you a little bit of relief, Rebecca. So we're going to pair this internal rotation position with some thoracic mobility, because our thoracic spine is the linchpin to our shoulders and our neck. If we have limited mobility and movement in our thoracic spine, we're going to have limited movement outwards from it. So in our shoulder blades, in our shoulders, and in our neck. And that dysfunction might lead to pain down the line. What you're going to do is you're going to sit back on your heels, and you're going to put one forearm down on the ground, right in the middle of your knees, okay? Not between them, but just kind of in the middle of them. See if I can move back so you guys can see me a little more. Then you're going to take that opposite hand, you're just going to put it on your low back. You're not looking to get as much range of motion as you can. You're just putting it on your low back. From here, you're going to push that bottom arm away, and as you do that, you're going to open up your chest towards the ceiling. And you breathe out, and then you bring it all back down, and then you open up again for 8 reps total. So I'm at 2. So we're getting that thoracic rotation, some extension. We're retracting our shoulder blade, opening the front of our chest. And we got 3 more. Breathing out. 1. Pushing away from the floor. And each rep, try to just squeak out a little bit more movement. And 3. And now I'm going to switch sides. We'll get the other one going. Forearms down in the middle of my knees, sitting back on my heels, opposite hands on my back. And if this bothers your ankles or your knees, you can go up into a quadruped position and do this. You're not going to get as much thoracic mobility, but that's cool. Once again, it's your position. So you're down on the ground, hands behind your back. You're pushing away from the ground, opening up and breathing out. I'm talking your ears off, so I know I'm breathing. We got 8, so I got 6 more. Pulling, trying to open up that chest, pushing away from the floor. 2 more, I think. Oh, I'm feeling good already. All right, so we're starting to incorporate a little bit more thoracic mobility. This next drill is going to put thoracic mobility and scapular control to the test. Now this one's going to take just a second to explain, but we're going to be on our hands and knees. I'm going to tilt the camera down so maybe you can see me a little bit better, not the comments. Let's see here. Okay, so, everybody. All right, so we're going to be on our hands and knees. You can do this on your forearms. If you have sensitive wrists, just modify. You're still going to be able to move your shoulder blades around. But what we're doing is we're basically going to be making some shoulder circles all through retraction, elevation, protraction, depression. But we're going to be doing it with our hands on the ground in a closed chain position. It's going to require certain amounts of stability in your shoulder while allowing your shoulder blade to move on your back. And so this one's going to might really screw with your brain a little bit because I'm going to ask for some certain things going on in your arms. But just know that you're going to be basically going through this position, or these movements, with your shoulder blades. You're really going to be swimming around on your back. But what you have to do is you have to keep your elbow pits forward while you do it, and you have to keep your elbows extended. You can't bend and extend your elbow during this, because that means that you're probably just going to be getting the movement in your elbows and not actually moving your shoulder blades on your thorax. So you're on your hands and knees. Let's see here. On your hands and knees, you have your wrists underneath your shoulders. And what you're going to do is, in this position, you're going to drop your chest down towards the ground, and that's going to cause your shoulder blades to come together. You're going to pull them down, and then you're going to push away, and then you're going to shrug. We're making some circles, and we're going to do 5 in one direction and then 5 in the other. So you'll see my elbow pits are facing forward. My elbows always stay straight. And all the movement is occurring between my shoulder blades, or at my shoulder blades. And this will be my 5th. So pushing away, I'm getting protraction. So now I'm going to retract or sink through. I'm going to shrug, and then I'm going to push away. Then I sink through, retract, shrug, push away to protract. 2. And if you're really struggling with this, if this is just like really messing with your brain, cats and camels are a great option as well. But I want to show as much or express as much control over my shoulder blades as possible. 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to progress that a little bit with our rubber band. So if you have it nearby, go ahead and grab it. Once again, I'm just going to do this in low kneeling. We're going to be down here a lot. You can stand, you can sit in a chair. All that's up to you. This is a comfortable position for my knees and my ankles, so I feel pretty good here. What we're going to do is we're going to use that protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades while working on the stability or control of our deltoids and our rotator cuffs while we protract and retract. What you're going to do is you're going to hold this band like 2 handles. You're going to pull apart, and then you're going to reach forward and pull back, all the while pulling apart in your band. And if you need to reset, if you need to relax and then reset and re-pull your band, be my guest. But we're going for 10 reps, so I've already done 2. So you pull apart, you reach forward, you reach back, and if you have your towel and you don't have a band, you can do this with the towel too. It's just a little bit more of an isometric, and that's cool. 4, I'm going to straighten up my head here. 5, and you're pulling that band apart and retracting and pressing forward. Working all the stabilizing muscles of your shoulder while using the mobility in your shoulder blades on your torso to protract and retract. Most people are really good at protracting with this one. They really struggle to retract. I think I got 2 left. 1 and 2. Okay, let's go down the list here. All right, we got a little bit more stretching for the fronts of our shoulders and our inferior shoulder, underneath the shoulder, coming here with a modified child's pose. So you're down here, you're sitting down on your heels again. You're going to reach your arms out kind of in line with the direction of your thighs. So your thighs are pointing out just a little bit. So my hands are coming out into a big Y. Now last week we did these things where we dropped our shoulder down. It kind of looked like, my wife told me that I looked like some dancer. I forget. I'm not good with pop culture, but anyway, your hands are going out. Your elbows stay locked, okay? And then you're trying to touch the front of your shoulder down to the ground in front of you. So you're in your child's pose, and then you're trying to touch that shoulder down. You're probably not going to get there, but you're going to feel a big stretch, maybe in your bicep, your tricep, maybe some tingling into your hands. That's okay. We're stretching out those nerves. Your pec, and maybe even up into your neck. We're going to make 5 to each side. So you're dropping your shoulder down. You're going to get some internal rotation. That's okay. And then switching. And 5 to each side. Stretching our pecs a little bit. We're going to need to use that in a minute. 4, 4, one more to each side. And 5. And we just stretched out our chest, our anterior shoulders, deltoids, biceps, triceps, all a bunch of good stuff. We're gonna progress to using, once again, thoracic mobility to create some rotation, but then we're gonna use all of that anterior shoulder mobility through some range of motion with some child's pose, rotation to open book. We're just putting a bunch of stuff together. Very efficient, okay? If you have limited time, this next one is gonna be good. There's a lot of bang for your buck here. Your hands are out in front. You put them down to the floor. You rotate and try to touch your shoulder down to the ground. And from here, you open up. And you're trying to prevent that top shoulder from shrugging as you open, okay? So you're pulling that shoulder blade back and opening up. So down, trying to touch that shoulder to the ground, opening up. And we're going for 5 on each side. And once again, if you can't get your shoulder to the ground, cool. Don't get your shoulder to the ground, but I still want you to open up. And somehow I've already lost count. I think I'm on 3. And you breathe out as you try to rotate. And 4. You got 1 more to each side. Using that anterior mobility in my shoulder to open up, get a little bit more range of motion, work on a little bit more thoracic mobility. All right, and now we're just gonna come up here. We don't need the band. We're gonna start putting a lot of stuff together in these last 3 things. This next one, we're gonna be working on, once again, protracting, elevating, internally rotating on one arm. And then the other arm is going to be retracting, depressing, and externally rotating. So we're kind of covering everything except pressing overhead with this next one. You're going to come up into tall kneeling because I do want your hips to be able to move. I want your thoracic spine to be able to move because we're going to be rotating a little bit. And so with one arm, you're going to reach across your body. You're going to internally rotate, so you're going to face your thumb down. You're going to shrug a little bit and reach forward. So that's what one arm is doing. On the opposite side, I'm pulling my shoulder down and I'm externally rotating. I'm not just side bending my trunk, I'm actually getting rotation in my trunk with this. So I'm externally rotated, depressing, internally rotated, and shrugging. And then I'm switching. And we're doing 8 on each side. Maybe you're getting some cramps in your obliques. I'm cool with that. Might as well turn it into a core exercise, right? 5 more. Looks like we're having a dance party today. I think I can hear cake on the radio right now. One more to each side. So really using all that mobility in our shoulder blades. If you move your arms around right now, should feel really good, really free. We've used stabilizers and mobilizers and we've had to use our flexibility and the mobility that we've gained, our thoracic spine, our rotator cuff, all that jazz, so we can move a little bit more freely, feel loose as a goose, right? So we've worked on our internal rotation a lot with that last one. Yeah, we were externally rotating a little bit. We're, once again, opening up the front of our chest. Now we're gonna focus on our external rotators and our neck side benders, okay? These guys that kind of live in this area of our body. And now we sit and we're internally rotated. We're typing, we're texting, we're kind of just sitting there, we're eating. We're usually in this internally rotated position. So we're going to force or add a lot of load to the external rotation. So we're not just passively going through internal rotation like we did with the last thing when we're addressing external rotation. We want to load it up. But it's just boring to sit around and externally rotate. So let's add it to a side plank. incorporate a little bit of trunk stability. We're gonna have our closed chain arm, the arm that's on the ground, having to create a lot of closed pack stability in the shoulder, while the top arm is gonna be producing some of that external rotation we were just talking about. So you're gonna be down on your side. We're gonna do a short side plank. I do like long side planks, I just don't have people do them a lot because it requires a lot of balance in the shoulder, and I feel like most of the people I work with aren't quite there yet. And so I really am a big fan of starting off with the short side plank where your heels are in line with your butt. From here, your torso is straight, your chest is facing straight ahead with your shoulder up towards the ceiling. So you guys can see me a little better. You're gonna hold this band against the ground. You're gonna go up where you push your hips forward. My top arm is locked to my side. And here I am. 10 reps of external rotation, really pushing away from the ground with my bottom arm. And then I'm gonna make some side bend with my neck after these 10. I think that's 5, 6, 7. Turn so you can see me a little better. 8, 9, 10. So I'm relaxed with the band, but now I'm gonna drop my head down, keep pushing away from the floor, and lift up 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing a lot of crazy stuff today. 5. And then we switch. Short side plank position, holding the band against the ground. Top elbow is locked to your side. Hips are up. Right in the directions for this one's gonna be tough. But then you're externally rotating 10 times, side bending your neck 5. Holding that band against the ground. And 10 and 5 side bends. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done with the band for today. Done with the towel. All you need is your mat. Because all we're doing is, once again, dropping down. We're gonna do a side bent child's pose. Now, I know some people out there, after doing the side bent child pose, with pigeon on Monday, said, oh, it really stretched out my ribs a little too much. That's cool. All you have to do is your child's pose. But for everybody else, you're gonna reach forward, you're gonna put your arms to the side, and then reach your other arm to match it, and you're just hanging out for 1 minute, where you're literally just hanging out here, just stretching out your lats, posterior rotator cuff, your tricep, your chest, just relaxing your head. Deep breaths. Stretching is something that you want to do again. This side bend position is going to force one side of your spine to extend and the other to flex, and that's going to help us rotate. It's going to help us breathe into our lungs on that open side. This is the last thing we're doing today, and then we're going to the other side, and we're done. Just hanging out. I'm gonna pick my head up just to check the time. And 10 more seconds, and then we're switching. All right, reaching our arms way over the other side. Get a big old stretch on the side of your body. Once again, lat, tricep, pec, quadratus lumborum, even in your low back. A little bonus there. Relaxing your head. 1 minute. Nice little way to cool down at the end here. Very, very dense program today with lots of information, lots of new and weird exercises, but maybe if you go through it in order, you'll feel those benefits. You'll see how we incorporate some stretching and mobility work and then make you use it through range of motion to express your control over that new mobility. Mobility without control is pretty useless. It's actually kind of dangerous and might lead you to get injured. All right. And that was today. That was neck and shoulder health week 8, episode 8.